Welcome back. If you're new to me, I'm Johanna Burkhardt. I am the soul shaman. And today I would like to talk about psychic attack, um, cords or cord cutting, and negative entities, and the perspective that I am given that is ever evolving. And I want to share with you these perspectives because I feel that so many are waking up right now and remembering their divinity or stepping into the process of remembering. That is the awakening. And there is so much fear-filled information out there. And when we begin that journey of seeking who am I and why am I feeling this, there's a lot of information out there that can be quite scary. And I want to shift that. I want to shift your perception and open you up to the possibility, because this isn't about me convincing you that my way or my perspective or what I am receiving is the truth, because only you can determine what is your truth. But I'm here to open the door to the possibility and allowing your beliefs to be set free. So let's start with psychic attack, because not that long ago, I received this intuitiveness that psychic attack was on the rise. And I was like, oh my gosh, immediately went into, what does this mean? What do I need to do? And I noticed that other light workers were doing the same thing. They were tuning in to psychic attack is on the rise. Get your crystals out and do all this protection. And I opened up my perception and I said, okay, what is psychic attack? Because I don't feel as if I'm being attacked by a being. I don't feel as if there's someone attacking me. But I do at times feel this tug of war happening within me. And what I received that day was something around the ego. The psychic attack is just our ego obscuring ourselves, obscuring our own light. But I knew that this was going to be evolving. I knew that this was going to be transcending a little bit, because this is how it always happens for me, is they bring me um, these new perceptions in the form of a question, so that it allows my belief systems, my doors to open. It's not about jumping outside of that box of the belief systems. It's about opening the door so that you can allow it to unfold naturally and gracefully. It's not a one and done, oh, this is no longer my belief. And so it has evolved. And so think about this for a second. And I'm going to do it in the form of a story, because I really want this perception to anchor into you. So think about a psychic attack. Think about if you are actually being attacked. Let's say somebody is mugging you. What is happening? You are holding on to dear life, to say your purse, right? Or your wallet if you're a male. You're holding on to this. And the other person who's attacking you is pulling it. It's saying, give it to me. They're wanting to take control. They're wanting to take this from you and run with it. This is a way of them to control and to take, and to pull it out, right? There's nothing graceful or patient about that. And they showed me that in that way. And I was like, wow, think about it. Now, our ego is the servant to our heart space. The ego is the servant to our heart. Our heart is supposed to lead the way. When our ego is a necessary part of our being, of this evolution, of this process of being a human, we give our ego direction from our heart, and our ego helps us take that aligned action. However, when we allow our ego to take the lead, to attach to something, In that moment, we have allowed our power to go all to our ego. Our power, our ego is that's where that tug of war is coming in. Our ego is pulling, saying, I want to lead. I want to be the one who leads the way, and the heart saying, no, I want to. And when we actually surrender to that, when we give into that and we allow ourselves to let our ego, our mind take control and lead the way, we are separating. We are feeding right into the separation. And then we become judgmental of ourselves and of others. We fall into blaming and shaming and feeling guilt. And then in those moments, instead of becoming into the awareness that we have just separated from ourselves and allowed our ego to lead the way, when we don't stop in that moment and reconnect and bring ourselves back together, call back all the parts and pieces of us and say no, we are actually in that moment. Now listen to this, because this is going to blow your mind. When we allow it to lead, when we allow to just go with it, and we allow ourselves to feed into the judgment, to continue judging and blaming and shaming, we are plugging that in to something, right? And that creates a cord. There cannot be anything of you that is not in you. So in those moments that you are sending that judgment, that you are sending that shame, that you are sending that guilt out into a person, place, or thing, into the universe, you are then plugging into that frequency. And that frequency is now flowing back into your being. And like a virus, right? It is beginning to multiply and expand throughout your whole entire consciousness. You are attaching to that low vibrational field, because a lot of times that feels familiar. That feels stable because it is a heavy emotion. It is dense. And the density creates almost this feeling of stability and anchoring, because when we just let go, we float, we feel light, we feel free. And that sometimes in itself can feel scary, because we don't know how to function from a space of infinite consciousness. We don't know how to function from a space of whatever it is that we believe we will see. We are so used to seeing is believing, when it's really believing is seeing. So when you think about why people cut cords, right? You're not really cutting a cord. You're detaching. You're detaching from the heavy, dense energies, the other aspects of you that are separate from yourself, that you are separating, right? Your ego creates separation when it leads. And so we have all these fragmented parts and pieces of us that are out there. And when we call all those pieces back, have you ever heard someone say, I call back all the parts and pieces of me, right? You're scattered out there. When we call all those back and we bring them in to unify in our heart space, and we place all the power back into our heart, and we say, we are the commanders. My heart is in charge. I am one. Even though we are not our mind and we are not our body, they are a part of who we are. It is our vehicle of light. The brain, the ego, is our computer, and it is waiting to be programmed. And if you don't program it, you're going to allow others to program it. And you are going to be out there plugging into all these other parts and pieces of you, all these other things, and allowing them to be the programmer. You are giving your power away. Bring back all the parts and pieces of you in those moments, and let go of whatever remains, and know that the power comes from deep inside of you. This is your power source. You are in charge. So it's not about cutting the cord, right? It's about letting go of it, letting go of the weight. If you were chained at the bottom of the ocean and you had the option to let go of all of the heaviness, and in that moment that you said, I let go, I break free, I am the commander of my energy, and those chains broke, what would happen? You would float to the top instantly. And it would feel amazing. So break free. It's a choice you make. In the moment that you catch yourself judging, you can choose differently. You can overwrite that energy. Because every word you speak, every thought you think has an energetic charge behind it. We are energetic beings. Everything is a frequency, and that is what we are sending out. And when you send out negativity, when you send out judgment, you are attaching that to you and allowing that to feed through your body and through your system. So what about negative entities? I really feel like, again, I covered this a little bit, but there is no negative entity. It is literally a part of you that you have evolved from, right? It was you 10 years ago or 5 years ago or 20 years ago, and now you're here. But because this is so unknown to you and can sometimes be so scary, we draw that cord and we attach it back to this lower vibrational energy aspect of us that is familiar and dense and helps feel grounded in it, right? And then all of a sudden, that energy starts fueling up into our body. And of course, it feels toxic because we are no longer supposed to be at this frequency. We were now up here, but we're not. We're tapping back into that lower vibrational energy, or that entity, that old aspect of us that is heavy and toxic, and we're allowing it to fuel up into our being, and we're filling ourselves up with that. We're plugging in and allowing that to run through our system. And of course, like any virus or any allergic reaction, think about if you eat something that is poisonous, it immediately manifests into your reality. So you immediately buy into something is attacking me, something is wrong with me. Because it is, because you have separated yourself and you have tapped back in to something that is not going to serve you. In that moment that you are feeling that, it is an opportunity. Everything is an opportunity to say, I detach. I break myself free and I call back all the parts and pieces of me into my heart space, into the pure divinity that is within me, and fill your whole entire body, all of your cells, with light and love from the inside of you. This is the power that we have. So I promise you, from my perspective, there are no dark entities. There are no psychic attacks. There are no cords to cut. It is a process of letting go of the old aspects of us, because we have shed those layers. We don't need to anchor back into that. It's heavy, it's dense. And while it may feel familiar, I promise you, the freedom that will come from letting go and allowing yourself to flow into the unknown is more magical than you will ever dream of. This is part of a larger series that myself and my business partner, Ashley Pfeffer, are doing called Reset and Reclaim. Reconnecting to the magic within you, remembering, stripping away all the conditioning and just tuning back in to your own frequency. We did a small 5-day series in our paid membership, and there's more details below for that. Or you can also join our Facebook community. It is not free. It is one that requires a devotion, a donation. It doesn't matter what it is, though. It doesn't matter if it's $1 or $100. The devotion donation is you putting your energy into that community and saying, yes, I'm here, I'm present, and I want to be active in my journey. And it also is about a bigger series, a course that we will be launching soon. And you can check below for updates of when that comes out. But let me tell you this, you can always realign. You can always tune back in. It doesn't have to be a long process to unify your consciousnesses, to come back into oneness. It's simply a choice. And we can start that process by opening that door to the box that our beliefs live in. and say, is it possible? Is what I am saying, is this possible? And if you say yes, then you can allow that door to open and you can allow your evolution to begin. Thanks for joining me today. And if this information resonated, if you feel that somebody could benefit from hearing this, please like, share, and subscribe. Please let me know your thoughts on this. This is a judgment-free zone. And I love you. Namaste.